Night of the Living Dead 2, 1998. Shooting script, Echo Artifact release. This is Night of the Living Dead 2, written in an alternate timeline during the shadows of the late 90s. What you are about to experience is the fully realized shooting script for a direct sequel to Tom Savini's 1990 remake masterpiece. In our timeline, Tom Savini remade Night of the Living Dead in 1990, a moody, brutal reinterpretation. But in another timeline, the story continued. Between 1997 and 1999, Savini collaborated with Lori Cardille, Sarah from Day of the Dead, David S. Cummings, and Daniel Kreps to develop a direct sequel to his '90 remake, Night of the Living Dead 2. In this alternate timeline, the MPAA had lost much of its power and influence by the late 80s, and Night of the Living Dead 1990 didn't receive the same censorship that it did in our timeline. The result? They didn't butcher it in that timeline. It released uncensored, was better promoted, and ended up finding a much wider audience. The first drafts for a sequel began in 1997. Filming occurred quietly in 1998 using mostly local Pennsylvania crews. By November 1999, the film premiered, hitting that post-Scream new horror wave. The film takes place 3 years after the original outbreak. The dead still walk, but the world has grown eerily quiet. Not conquered, not cured, just paused. A survivor named Barbara, yes, that Barbara, now older, hardened, and haunted, lives among a ragtag community in the ruins of a rural town surrounded by endless fog and ritualized silence. With her are Jax, Amir, Greg, Mrs. Dawes, and others, each scarred in different ways. Their fragile routines are punctuated by new strange behaviors in the dead. Barbara keeps a journal of these phenomena. She notices something else. Their reflections in mirrors don't always match. Soon after, mirrored versions of the survivors begin appearing in the fog, smiling, watching, taking their places. One night, something enters the chapel tent, wearing Barbara's face. It never speaks. It only grins. When the candles go out, it kills. The survivors begin repeating strange mantras, lest they remember. As Barbara burns her journal, a page refuses to turn to ash. It reads, Johnny, Ridge, Dawn. Against her own fear, Barbara journeys to the ridge, where she finds her long-dead brother Johnny standing at the crest. Not alive, not dead, a reflection. Meanwhile, Greg begins smiling too often, staring too long into the fog. When Barbara speaks his name, Greg's eyes are white, his lips are blue. Jax says, I don't think Greg came back from the spiral. Eventually, they find a horrifying scene. A dead man, eating what appears to be an exact copy of his own corpse. They realize something terrible. The dead are beginning to recognize themselves in reflections. The final scene takes place inside the chapel. Jax finds the last remaining mirror turned to face the wall. He rotates it forward and sees an undead Barbara smiling at him from the other side. Behind her, dozens of the dead waiting. Jax smiles back. The footsteps begin. The glass shatters, fade to black. Not fan fiction, not a recreation. It is the real shooting script, preserved from the alternate timeline where Night of the Living Dead 2 was completed and released in 1999. The original poster and full script are included in the download. Archive it, print it, read it by candlelight, and above all, don't look too long into the mirror. Because sometimes, what's looking back is smiling.